Hi everyone, Paul SM. Welcome to part 3 of our HobbyDesign 124th LB Works Lamborghini Gulf Aventador video build. So this was a huge amount of footage with part 2, absolutely loads, and I managed to condense them into 2 videos. This one's a bit long, I do apologise, but we've got a lot to get through to get this finished. And this one's been lingering for a while that needed finishing, but the modified Hero kit's kind of taken over a little bit. So we're here for part 3, we're going to get it finished today. And what a wonderful kit and a great looking car this is going to be. So without further delay, let's jump in to the build. Hey everyone, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, get notified of our latest videos, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and leave a comment. I do read and appreciate every comment you guys and girls leave behind. I may not reply to them all, but they are all appreciated. And there's a link in the description of the video that takes you to a big long list of all handy videos and a lot of the products I use in my videos. You now have the chance to support the video content creation by using Patreon or the PayPal me link in the description down below. All the videos always remain free to watch. This is just your chance to help support the videos. So we're on to the home straight of our Aventador. Absolutely beautiful kit so far. Very happy how it turned out. The wheels in gloss black looks absolutely stunning. Very happy with these. So we're literally leaving off, well, starting off where we left off last time. So tyres, they come with these rubber pour plugs, I suppose they are, on the back where they've been poured into the mould. So just trimming them off, I find the sprue cutters probably the easiest, cleanest and quickest way of doing it. If not, some small precision scissors are good. And just gently push these over the top. Now, if you are using GX2, it does take a while to dry. And these tyres are handed, so make sure you get the right side on. And obviously, you're dealing with very delicate resin, so don't apply too much force. Be nice and careful. So we've got all the braking system here, the hubs, the locator hubs, all to clean up, prime and paint. So we're just going to clean up all the resin attachment points or pour plugs with a UMP 240 sander. And then we're going to get everything primed. So normal standard procedure. With the discs, make sure you use a razor saw. These are quite easily damaged. I know because I damaged one being an idiot. But yeah, cut everything off, clean it up, and we get everything primed. Now, we've got some grills to put on. There's a lot of grills on this car. There really is. It's quite testing to do. So for now, we've got an engine one that goes on the engine cover we did in part 2. So this needs painting black. So we're going to mount this and prime this with Mr. Servicer at the same time we do the others. Like I say, there's a whole load of different grills to put on the rest of the car, which we'll get to a little bit later. Great fun kits these. I really do enjoy building them, and I'm always eager to start another one. I am now. I am chomping at the bit, but with what I've got on my plate at the minute, I don't think it's the best idea. I've got the 850 BMW on the go at the minute, and I've just started the Model Factory Hero 12 scale Lancia Delta, which is an immense kit. So, yes, a lot of work. Now, we're going to prime these in our usual Mr. Servicer 1500 black, thinned as usual, Mr. Hobby level and thinner, about, what, 60%. And then through our UMP Apex 0.35 at about 14 psi. Now I have this bottle stored up. You can see I've got a large empty Tamiya jar to the right. It's one of their 40ml jars you can buy. And it's always pre-thinned, and that way it's easy for me to grab and use rather than thinning it every single time. And I use that much of it, it's never in there for that long. Bit of a shortage at the minute on the 1500 blacks. I've just ordered some of the spray can in hoping that that'll do. Brake calipers, we're going to paint in Tamiya white primer. That's been decanted as well. Thin about 10% with Tamiya lacquer thinner and retarder. We're going to paint these orange, same colour we did our springs in, I believe it is, in our engine bay. So just some careful priming, let everything dry overnight, or at least for a good 6 hours, and we'll come back to some paint. Decals, we've got some decals for the centre of the wheels. These are very nice Lamborghini logos. Like I say, just be careful with these wheels. They are delicate. It does break a lot easier. It's just like a shearing point with resin. There's no real give on parts like this. On larger parts, you can get a bit of bend in it. Part of this, it will literally snap in your hand, so don't go too gung-ho on it. Just take your time. Typical decal application, get them wet. Ooh. Pop them in place, get a cotton bud on them, let them sit for 5 minutes, hit them with UMP strong, and get them all set in place. Back in the spray booth, everything has dried from the priming session before, and I believe this is Jägermeister Orange from Zero Paints. I'm pretty sure it might not be the colour. I'm forgetting, if I'm completely honest, what colour it was. It is Jägermeister Orange. You can see the lid on the bench. So that's Zero Paints Jägermeister Orange. We're giving all the brakes, calipers a coat of that. The running gear we've painted in with Surface 1500 black, and we're going to leave it that colour. And the calipers, the disc, I'm not sure what we've done there. We've got the photo etch to go on, beautiful photo etch disc. So these need cleaning up, cutting off the fret, cleaning up all the points where they attach to the fret. So trimming off with your Zuron PE cutters or whatever you use, and then diamond file, we get rid of that. And then some careful application of our Loctite craft glue, whatever the hell they've called it now, super glue. The discs have been painted. I think we did this last time. I can't remember the colour, but they've been painted silver. We're just going to pop the disc on. Now, you have got a hub to go through this. You need to make sure they are centered on the front and the back. Make sure you don't get any glue everywhere. If you do get any excess super glue, acetone will get the excess off. Just be careful of it on the plastic. It will melt plastic. But for the photo etch, it's pretty good. Now, very confusing instructions. I was missing instructions off this that made no help at all. I emailed Alpha Models. They were going to get a modeler to help me. But luckily, a buddy of mine, Adam, sent me a photocopy of his instructions out of a similar Lamborghini kit, and it became apparent. So we've assembled all the hubs and the brakes. Now, obviously, I painted the disc silver without even thinking about it, and then realised, oh yeah, they're carbon. So we've got the photo etch on one side, we've primed it all, Mr. Surfacer, and we've got the carbon ceramic paint from Zero. Now, technique to using this, I find if you just spray it normally, it looks alright. But I find if you keep starting your airbrush, it tends to spit out more metallic flakes. I don't know if it's just me, it just seems to work. And you end up with a much more convincing carbon ceramic look. It just looked a lot better. So I found myself just doing this, and every now and then I backflow the airbrush, and I found it got metallic pigments a little bit mixed in the cup. Like I say, just stopping and starting just seemed to add a little bit more metallic pigment to the surface. It's a good paint this, it does look really good. For the hubs at the centre, we're going with LP61, which is metallic grey, and give all these a light coat of this. So there we go. Everything gets a couple of coats, and then we've got this here, which is, let me see, I think this is some of the carbon part. It is. Oh, we nearly dropped that one. Oh, we did drop it. Oh. So these are the carbon parts we did earlier in the build. We chose not to 2K them, so I've got Mr. Hobby Super UV Cut Clear Coat. We're going to give everything a nice light clear coat. So with this stuff, it's quite hot. It's thinned with MLT, Mr. Level and Thinner, a good 60%, so it's a hot paint. So you need to put a thinnish coat down first, and then come back like I have here with a second coat, a little bit wetter. And keep putting a couple of slightly wet, semi-wet coats down, and finally a real wet coat at the end, and it should give you a good gloss. Now, I've got a lot of footage to get through today, so we're not hanging around with this. So it's a little bit all over the place. There was a good, I think it was 20 odd hours of footage I had for the last two parts of this build. A lot of work. So I kind of cut out all the drivel. Well, you're probably saying, no, you haven't because you've left this in. But I've just sped through the build a little bit to speed up the process. Calipers, again, we're going to give a coat of UV clear coat gloss. As you can see, it gives a decent gloss coat. Not too bad. Now at this stage, we are planning to put the spoiler on. If you've noticed the picture at the beginning of the video, we didn't in the end. And I'll explain why when we come to it. But everything's been painted up from the spoiler. We fixed the problem of when we dropped it, when we were clear coating it. I flatted it back and we painted it in TS13 from Tamiya. And we're going to assemble it and put it on the car and see what we think later. But it'll become apparent later on what we think. So we put the hubs in the centre with a bit of CA glue. We've lined up where we think the calipers are going to go. Now, I did make a bit of a mistake. The calipers had a bit of excess resin on them, and I've cut it off, and you're supposed to leave it on. It's a locating point for the hub. So if you do what I did, or do, you're going to have to do it by eye. But those locating points are here to do the handbrake caliper and what have you. But I just weighed everything up by eye. Make sure obviously it's the opposites for the other side, and you'll be all good. So yeah, a bit stupid, but yeah, I want to cut them off like an idiot. Duh. But hey, people make mistakes. It's one of those things. We move on through and we fix the problem. So we've got tyre markings for these as well. So these very nice HobbyDesign decals, no problem at all. Not a lot of room for the Pirelli and P0 logos, so you have to pay attention to where they go. Looking at the real car, it goes onto the rim a little bit. So I kind of followed suit and just put it touching the rim a little bit. and the rest of it on the tyre, and just got them in position, got all the moisture out of them. Standard decal procedure. Hit them with UMP decal solution. I think I used a strong, normal and then the strong, and these laid down absolutely beautiful. I love HobbyDesign decals. Never ever had an issue with them. They've always gone down really, really well, and they're just definitely one of the top decals out there. So I really wish they made a lot more, but it's good to know that you've always got a good set of decals. So nice finishing touch these. They look really good on the car. Obviously we've had a quick test fit of everything, and it did sit well, but oh my, does this thing sit well at the end. It sits right in those arches with these huge wheels, and it's going to look great. It really is. So like I say, 2 decals per wheel. So you got the Pirelli and the P0 logo top and the bottom. I just line them up by eye. I'm not being particularly pedantic or specific on where they're going. Is pedantic the right word? Probably is, isn't it? And like I say, hit them with some UMP decal solutions and let them sit to one side. So really nice wheels. They're massive, absolutely beautiful rims. Very high quality tyres in the kits as well. It's small details like this that show you the cost of the kit and why it is that expensive. And it shows you the class of the kit as well, which is often quite lacking. Tyres are quite lacking in a lot of model car kits, especially Tamiya's. They're a bit poor on their slicks and what have you, but on these, no problem at all. So we've got that grille at the back. We painted this earlier, Mr. Surfacer. I'm just going to line it up where I want it. I've got some Alclad Aqua Gloss. We're going to load some up on my brush, and we're going to use this like a varnish glue. So we're just going to touch it around the edge, let the capillary reaction carry it around the mesh. And for me, this is the cleanest way of gluing things like this down. Very little mess, no residue. Anything that there is, you can wipe off. And it does glue things down surprisingly well. So don't rule this out. If you've not tried it before, it's worth a go. It does work really, really well. There you go. If you get any excess on, you can wipe it off. Put that to one side. Wheels are dried. Absolutely lovely. Very, very pretty rims. I like them. Yeah, there you go. Look, I'm happy. I'm probably live. And here we go with the polishing session. So we've flatted it all. It's all been flatted with micro mesh. Didn't really need a lot of work this. It was a very good clear coat out the air gun, out the airbrush. So we flatted it with probably it'd be 8 and 12,000 micro mesh. We go around with the UMP compound, and then we go around with the polish it all up. You've seen this before, so it's not worth me doing the whole polishing process. You've seen it many, many times. Like I said, we've gone through with the compound. I'm just going to go finish it off with the polish. New cloths, hopefully we're going to have in stock at UMP soon. I don't know if we've got them in, to be honest. I'll have to go have a look. Much nicer than they're all microfibers. Pure cotton cloths work absolutely fantastic. But this paint job was just phenomenal out the airbrush. It really was. A few little specks of dust, which we got rid of with the sanding, and give it a nice polish up. It does look absolutely wonderful. It was still all those rivets to put in. I really wasn't looking forward to that step, but this needs doing first. So excuses. And there we go. So for some reason, what am I doing? Right, I see. So I must have done section by section. I'm trying to figure out what I did. This was filmed quite a while ago, so I'm trying to remember what I did and didn't do. So on areas I've come back and I sanded a bit more. They need a little bit more work. That's what I've done. And there we go. And there's the compound. So the bonnet didn't need any real sanding, just needed a polish, whereas the side of it needs a bit more. So again, it just shows you don't have to polish the whole thing. If the finish is good, leave it alone, but it's always worth giving it a polish at least. It'll always give a nicer shine. And as somebody was saying on Facebook the other day on a comment, it does take away that toy-like look of the 2K. This one's a really good 2K job. It's a perfect one for thickness. It's not overly thick. And the finish I got out of the air gun was great. Out the airbrush was fantastic. Painting it, so we've got all the interior to paint black, all underneath. If you notice when I turned it up before on the skirt, there was a bit of bird resin showing. We're going to go through with some model colour black, thinned with a couple of drops of water. We've got a nice Tamiya flat brush. I'm just going to brush paint all these underside areas in black. So you could mask and paint this should you want, but to be honest, you're never going to see this. This is all going to be underneath. It's going to be hidden in the arches behind the wheels, hidden under the chassis plate underneath. And on the interior, you're not going to see it either. So trust me, save time, just brush paint it. The Flow model colours are very, very high quality paint. Brush paints really, really well. This brush I've got here needs taking out back and shooting by the look of it. I don't know what's going on with this brush, but I think I need to invest in some new Tamiya brushes. These are looking a bit sorry for themselves. But this Vallejo model colour goes down wonderful. Drop or two of water, nothing else. A little bit of water. Don't go over it too many times with the brush. Don't put it on too thick. And it lays down absolutely beautiful. Gives a really nice uniform finish. And like I say, why waste time masking all this to have to faff around when you can just come back and do this? It's simple, it's quick, and it's easy. And if you get any excess on, you can literally wipe it off with a cotton bud. Over 2K, it'll wipe right off really easily. So we've got the hubs in place. So I did a quick test fit, pop the wheel in. Yeah, happy with that. Make sure you got your discs and calipers the right way orientated, because there's no going back. So there you go, quick test fit. Back one's glued in now. Front one, I'm just looking at the brake caliper, thinking which way does it need to go? It needs to go that way. There's some shea glue in there. Line it up, get it in place, make sure it's all straight, and just look how that sits in the arches. Absolutely beautiful, stunning. And then this one as well. So like I said, there's two locator points, and they're like little legs that come off the calipers, and there's locating points on the hubs. So it makes the wheel, the disc sit in the correct position. Obviously, me being a numpty, I cut them off. But looking at pictures of the real car, the instructions, you can see which way they're orientated. And as long as you're quick before the shea glue sets, you can line everything up. And it lines up great. This thing just sits in those arches so well. It really does sit absolutely beautiful. By far one of my favourite cars I've built in a long time. Just on the sheer looks of the thing, it is very cool. Controversially, we get into the spoiler. Where someone going to be, oh no, you didn't do it, but I'll be like, oh, I did it for a reason. So as you can see, let's get the hubs in. They're a bit of a weird fit, the hubs. They don't sit great. They don't sit fully flush. They go around a particular way, and so I kind of think test fit them. So just slide them in place, put the wheel in loosely. Does it look about right? Yes. If you're confident, put some CA glue in there, hit it with some kicker to get it in place, and then bung some glue inside the hub. Put the wheel on, get the disc orientated and the caliper the right way. Have a quick look. Make sure all the wheels sat straight, it's in the arches properly. And for God's sake, make sure you've got no glue on your fingers now. Now, this was a point I was discussing, and I discussed this on the live stream when I was doing it. The Aventador has an engine cover at the back, and it's from the side there, but it goes right down past where I've masked at the back of the window, and it covers a lot of the orange stripe. And to be honest, I didn't like the look of it. I didn't want to lose a lot of my orange stripe, and I probably would have lost about 25% of that rear orange stripe. So I thought, you know what, we'll just do the sides, and that's what I did. So I've masked up the back with some Tamiya tape and the headlights around, and then some high-tech masking sheets, aka notebook paper. We're going to go around and mask off the rest. So I don't want to waste masking tape. Cling film I couldn't be bothered with today because it would need cutting in sections. So I thought, let's make a paper monstrosity like this. And there we go. That's it. That's that done. And then we've got some Mr. Surfacer 1500 black. Standard UP Apex 0.35, 14 PSI. I'm just going to put a very light couple of coats on the headlights and that engine cover surround. So personal choice. If you want to do the proper cover, it's just mask up the back section as well. But I just didn't want to lose any of that orange on the stripe. You know, I find it a very striking part of the car, and I didn't want to lose it. So obviously, my model, it's my choice, and I chose to do it this way. There we go. There's a hole there. Quite nice. And there we go. Now we've got our UV pen, and I believe we're gluing in that engine surround, the carbon one we did last time. So I popped it in place. You could use CA glue. Problem with CA glue is there's no going back from it. It's a destructive glue. If you're confident something's going to stay in there forever, like these wheels, I'm happy to CA glue those in. With part of the engine cover, it may not be in the right place quite. Same with these door cards, you know, I don't want to commit to CA glue, so we're going for UV glue on the engine cover at the back. It holds it in place perfect. It's not a structural part, neither of these door cards, so I've gone for PV on these. As you can see, you put it in, squeezes all around. I did put a little dab of UV glue on the back as well, just to kind of hold it, tack it in place while the glue dries. And this UV glue is a game changer. If you've not used this yet, go in the description of the video, and I've got links to UV glues. It's the one on the forum, I think it's in. They're about £3. You get a lot in there, and it really works well. It really does. It's a lot less messy than CA glue. You can get things back off again, no problem at all. The only thing it doesn't like is painted surfaces. It's a bit tricky there. So you choose your weapon and choose which way you use it. Interior, going in, we've got all our engine attached to the back that we did in the last video. All the interiors in place, the dashboard's in place inside. You've seen me test this before, I think. We're just going to line everything up. You did a little bit of persuasion at the back. There we go. Let's get it in and then flip it around, have a little look. Does it all look all right? That interior with the orange looks absolutely fantastic. Very, very happy. And then we're going to try this plate underneath. Now, this was a pain in the arse, if I'm completely honest. It's got 2 scrolls at the back that weren't too bad. You've got to open them up quite big. They're quite big screws on this one. The front one is recessed too deep already. So the screw's not long enough. I don't want to be putting massive screws through. So I opted to glue it in place. I don't want to put huge screws near that bonnet and risk it coming through. But it's already pre-drilled this to a level. And I thought, oh, okay, it'll just need drilling, you know, opening a little hole in the middle. No, it's pre-drilled too far, so the screw's too short. I didn't really put bigger screws in because I didn't want to split the resin. So I thought, right, we'll pop the back screws in. Not the best fitting one, not as good as the Porsche. It's a little bit, yeah, a little bit ropey. And on the front, I just bung some say glue on the top, but it won't be seen. And just strategically at the sides. This say glue is one of the worst things for wrecking your model. You've got to be so careful at this stage in the build. You really, really have. Because it's such a destructive glue. It can cause nothing but trouble. So just put it in places where it shouldn't squeeze out. And it shouldn't be seen once it's dry. But obviously we need it glued enough to hold this in. The resin part's a little bit warped as well. And I opted to, yeah, let's just push it, hold it. Perfect, job done. Now we've got some front grills. I've opted to leave these silver underneath. I assume that's right. I am not sure if I'm honest. The body needs a good polish still. Not with the actual polish of a cloth. It's got fingerprints and gunk and malarkey all over it. But so put those on the back. We've got the side ones that fit in here. A little bit tricky, those ones. And again, a little bit UV glue, a little dab at the bottom. Doesn't dry quite crystal clear, but it dries clear enough that it can't be noticed behind grills and that. Definitely doesn't take 5 seconds to dry though, it takes at least 10. So hold it for a lot longer than you think. Hit it with this, then you're all set in place. And then we've got our exhaust into the back, little dab of say glue into the back. Line it up, you've got to fiddle with this to get it to sit right. Not the most positive locating points. Once you get in, and obviously choose the 2 exhausts, we chose this one. And then we've got all the trim to put on. So we've got a lot of carbon trim to put on here. Now, I originally thought we used say glue, yeah, and then I remembered, oh, say glue is a pain. So just these rear sections are put on say glue because these need kind of an instant grab. So they line up 2 locating points on the back and then it angles to meet that bodywork just there. It's a case to get it in place, let the say glue grab it, repeat for the other side. On this side piece, there's 2 little trim parts that go just in front of those grills. So we've got the silver grill at the back, the painted black grill in front of that, and then there's a little carbon piece that sits in the edge. I opted to use glue and glaze here. It's been left out for 10-15 minutes ago, nice and tacky. And then this part, we're just going to pop it in place. It just fits in behind just a little bit. There's just enough surface area to hold it. It's a bit fiddly to do. I'm just trying to figure out how it fits in. And I say, it fits in behind. Oh, I see. And then repeat that for the other side. A little bit tricky to do. It's a real test of patience. And there's a lot to go on the exterior of this. And then these really awkward little trim pieces for the front. So again, a little dab of Deluxe Materials glue and glaze. It's gone really nice and tacky now. It's gone nice and thick. And I thought, you know what? Let's pop a little bit of UV glue in there. Belt and braces to make sure it's all in properly. Now, there's one thing I didn't do on this, and I knew I should have, is painted those window surrounds. The front screen and the side, mask and paint them black. 100% every time, because it's one of the things that lets my build down at the end. You can see the blue on the inside of the surround. Now, I didn't do it with Vallejo because I knew Vallejo had no grip and it just would have pulled off the super glue. I should have just masked it and painted it Mr. Surfacer before I put the body on, but I kind of forgot, if I'm honest. And we're committed now. The body's glued in place. Nothing's coming back off. So own the mistake is the word to use. So we painted up the silver rear lights. We painted up the silver pieces on the inside. We've got some silver photo etch to pop in here as well. It does need a bit of shaping. It's a very random piece, so just kind of do it by eye. I use the tweezers to do it, and then a bit of Bob Smith's odorless glue. Pop it in place, repeat for the other side. And we're going to get our headlight covers in place as well. Just how pretty is this thing though? What a pretty car it is. It really is. I've always liked the Aventador. It's probably one of my favourite Lamborghinis. In a Gulf scheme especially, it's just absolutely beautiful. And the orange stripe, the orange interior, it just really cool. So yeah, I love this build. I'm very happy how this turned out. And it's been an enjoyable kit to do. I wouldn't say it was quite as enjoyable as a Singer Porsche. That's a beautiful car and a beautiful kit. It's a newer kit, so it's always going to be a little bit better. But it's been a very enjoyable kit. Great build to do. So we've got the headlight covers here. I'm just figuring out which way goes where. I'm just going to weigh it up, have a little look. So there we go. Make sure we've got the right side. If you're in any doubt at all, find the peel off side, and you know that's the top then. If you're in any doubt, make sure you don't put them in the wrong way. I know Philip did that, didn't you, Philip? If you're watching, Mr. Harford, aka Mr. King, he did it. So I've got some Bob Smith's odorless glue in there. I'm just going to hold it, let it get purchase on it, and then a little bit more on the other side. And rinse and repeat. Like I said, I kind of kicked myself for not doing those window surrounds. I kind of knew I should have. It's just one of those things that, well, went by the by, really. Like I say, own the mistake. It's got a blue slight window surround in the pictures at the end. It is what it is. But lesson learned, always paint those windows in black. A lacquer based black so it grips well to the 2K. If you're unsure, you can always paint the black before you clear coat. So at least it is black. It'd be glossy, but at least it'd be black underneath. Once we're happy, just make sure we've got the peel off. And we're going to take this off, sod it. I want to make sure it looks all right. And then the rear windows. Now, the rear windows, another point, it asks for these to be like concertinaed. And I didn't like the look of it. I really didn't. So I've left them straight. I've just trimmed a little bit off the edge to make them fit. Then we've got some Alclad aqua gloss again. Just like capillary reaction, carry it down. Again, it's my model. So if I'm not happy with something, I don't have to do it. There's no lines on the clear plastic where to bend them. So you're doing it all by eye. I don't think it would have looked very good, so I opted not to do it. So we've got them all laid in place. They are sized, so make sure you get the right one. Look at the instructions. And just hit it with the aqua gloss and wipe off any excess with a pointed cotton bud. And leave that to dry, and they look really good. And now, I believe we're doing our rivets. So we have 70 odd of these tiny little things. Give it a second. Look at the size of that. Absolutely tiny. We drilled all those 0.3mm holes before we started paint. And obviously we're clear coated now, so we're going to do it again. So nice gentle drilling, and I didn't break a single drill bit doing this, thankfully. We don't need to drill as deep because we've already drilled the hole. We just need to drill the remnants of paint and clear coat out, and then pop in the rivet. So yes, it's a bit of a laborious job. I did kind of think, oh no. Now what we did when we drilled these out, before we clear coated, we put a Tamiya panel line wash in there, so they're nice and black in the middle. The rivets are supposed to be black, but when I put them in silver, the silver contrast on the black background looked really good, and I thought, you know what, I quite like the look of that, so that's what I'm going to do. So with a little dab of glue and glaze PVA based glue, we pop them in. It's fiddly, it's kind of brain surgeon territory for patience and skill. As you see, I've got my Tamiya visor on, my magnifier on to see what I'm doing. And it's a good hour's worth of work here, tedious. I did ping a few of them away. But they look really good. The silver, just slight silver highlight over the black hole. Look absolutely brilliant. And like I say, I'm just touching it into the PVA glue. gluing base is a PVA based glue. It does dry a lot quicker. It definitely is a PVA based glue. I'm just go around and do all of them. Now, onto the windows. So all the rivets are in. They're all done. We've got some Bob Smith's odorless gold black topped super glue, the slightly thinner one. And we're going to go around and put a, not overly generous, but a little bit of a bead of super glue down left hand side. We're then going to get the screen. And for me, this is the most nerve-wracking part of these kits. It's a very focal point of the car. And if it goes wrong, it's going to go wrong in a big way. So make sure you get the windscreen orientated the correct way. The film should be at the top. So when you take it off the sheet, that's the top. Put it on one side. Make sure you lay it down over to the other to make sure it's all lined up, and then push it down. The Bob Smiths does take a while to grip, so you've got plenty of time to move it around. And then get 2 cotton buds and just hold it and just keep running the cotton bud up and down until it grips. And it will grip in the end. It doesn't take that long to get a hold, but it's definitely the safest way of doing this. And then on the other side, just gently lift it up. I'm not going to put any in the middle at all. But what you will find at the very bottom corner where I am now, you're going to have to really put a bit of pressure on there and hold it just to get that corner in. So you may find it needs a little bit more manipulation than the other areas. But you don't want to go mad at Sega. You need enough to hold the screen without it all squeezing out the edge and ruining everything. So like I say, don't need to apply it in the middle. Just make sure you get up the side, right to the top, and right down that bottom corner that there's plenty. And again, make sure it's all lined up. Gently pop it in place, push it down, and get your cotton buds again. Put a little bit of pressure on there. You have got protective coating on the top, so that does save any issues of getting any marks on there. And I find just keep pressure on it and keep running it up and down for a second or two, and you should find the Sega glue grabs. But I did find that bottom corner on each side did need a little bit more manipulation. So there's our screen on. Again, not quite as good a fit as the Porsche. This one's a little bit oversized, I think. I think it's a little bit too big. And you can see I've got the little ripples in it. You can't really see it from the front, but you can see it from overhead a little bit. But anyway, we've got some photo etch parts to put on the mirrors. So again, a little bit of CA glue in the back. Pop these in place. There we go. There's the 2 mirrors in situ. They can then sit and dry off camera. There we go. And then the side windows, exactly the same process. Now, these were short. So I don't know if those rear vents that we put in the intakes need to come forward a little bit. Maybe I pushed it back a little bit too far. I am not sure, but it was a little bit too short. So, bit of a strange one. I'm not sure. But again, same process. Make sure you get the correct side. Make sure from whatever side you lift it up, that's the side that it glues down. Way up the front, pop it in place. Make sure everything's lined up before you fully commit, and just hold. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Get your cotton bud again. Make sure it's all pushed in the corner. Make sure those fingers are free of glue. And then repeat the other side. And again, like the front, you can just see the blue on the surround of the windscreen on the front. It's gutting, but it's just one of those things. A lesson learned, always do it. And if you don't think it needs doing, just paint the inside of those windows with a nice black Mr. Surfacer or LP5, Southern black lacquer base so it grips to the 2K. And then if you put your windows in, you won't see it at all. And again, go around with a cotton bud, just gently make sure it's all pushed in. There we go. Quite simple on these, not too stressful at all. No real mistakes, other than not painting them black on the inside. They've gone down really, really well. And then I shouldn't be taking these off now, but I just can't leave them on. I've got to have a look, make sure everything's okay. And there we go. Other than that little tiny ripple in the middle, they're pretty perfect. Side ones have gone on great. I find a knife is the best way. You've got to be very careful. I have very, very steady hands, so I'm confident I won't ruin anything. And just peel it off. Same on the other side. And there we go. Very nice. Door mirrors, these are going to need drilling out a little bit. I wish I kind of done these at the very beginning, but you just sometimes miss these things. So gentle drilling with a pin vise. I can't remember the drill size, but it's quite a big one by the look of it. And then a little dab of Bob Smith's in there. Not to be confused with John Smith's, because that won't glue, get you drunk. And then pop the mirror in. got a nice stalk on it. Make sure it's angled right and in the correct place. And then drill out the other side as well. Blow out any excess. And again, a little dab of glue. Doesn't need a lot. You really don't need a lot of super glue at all. Be very careful. Like I say, it's a very destructive glue. We've all probably had problems with FCA glue before. But we should get enough in there that it'll grab. There we are. My God, how much do I want? Jeez, Paul. Slow down. And then make sure that's cut. You don't need too long, the locating point, just enough to get into the hole. Ooh, here. And just get it lined up. Make sure it sits flush to the body properly. And it's angled roughly mirrored to the other side. Hey, mirrored, see what I did there? Little joke. Ah, dear. Wasted, aren't I? And there we go. Job done. There's our mirrors in place. They're looking good. Spoiler. Now, like I say, it's all been repainted. It's not perfect. We've got the photo etch mount up in GX2 gloss blacked. We clear coated everything and we're in. So I've mounted the PE to the back. They're glued in place. We've mounted the spoiler and I put it on. And yes, it's supposed to have the spoiler. Yes, it looks good. I left it on there for 10 minutes and just kept looking at it thinking, it looks good. It does. And it's supposed to have it. But I just prefer the look of it without. I like the Aventadors with no spoiler. I always have. So I'll leave it on. Thought I'll leave it on for a bit. We'll get this Sunstrip logo decal in place. And we'll have a look. And it just didn't grow on me. It really didn't. It was kind of annoying me. And I know, yes, you're going to say, oh, it's part of the car. And I did Google it. None of these cars come without the spoiler. But it's my model, and I just preferred it. I think it's a prettier car without the spoiler. And that's quite unusual for me, because I normally always like spoilers on my cars. But with this one, I just preferred it without. So I left it on. Did some of the decals. There's a nice metallic Lamborghini badge for the front. Absolutely beautiful. Always a nice touch, these. Nice metallic badges. So that's popped in place. There we go. And then PE window wipers. So for Philip, here you go. Same process as before. Get them off. Bend them where required. So these are no longer my nemesis. I've no problem building these anymore. I think I've just kind of shied away from them because they've always annoyed me. But I've built 2 sets in quick succession recently. And they're no bother at all. They're really not. The small shop PE bending tool, well worth the money. So get it all lined up. You can bend the parts nice and easily to get them shaped. One either side. There we go. So yeah, no problem doing these anymore. Get the arm in place. Like so. They are fiddly. Don't get me wrong. They're very, very fiddly. Really are. But they've always been one of those things I shied away from. Now, there's a couple of pieces of PE that do wrap around here, but I opted to put a bit of glue on there as well, just to give it a bit of security. And then the blade itself, I just touched ever so gently in some Bob Smith's glue. And it's a nice, simple blade, this one. Just line it up. Get a bit of purchase on one piece. And then push it down on the other. It can take a couple of goes. But once you've got it, you can repeat that for the other side. They're pretty similar, the wipers. One's a little bit shorter than the other. But there we go. No problem at all. Nice and easy. So, yeah, there you go, Philip. There's window wipers. These things don't bother me anymore at all. And they do look a lot better than the plastic ones. I will freely admit that now. They're a pain. Don't get me wrong. They are fiddly. They're a bit annoying, but they do look good. I put a bit of a kicker on there just off camera. Sprayed away from the bench and away from the model. That just dries the super glue super quick. And there we go. Ready for some paint. So we're going to Mr. Surface prime them. We're going to mount them quickly to this bulldog clip. So they're both done. Ready for a bit of Mr. Surfacer. Like I say, they are worth doing. If you've never tried them, give them a go. They look daunting. They're nowhere near as bad as you think they're going to be. Having the right tools helps immensely. But yes, I'm happy to build these now. Like I say, a little bit of mist surface of 1500 black, give it a light prime. As you can see, they look a lot more scale is what they look like. So yeah, they are worth the effort. They're fiddly, but they are worth it. And you can get these in a lot of detailed upsets. They don't come with a lot of car kits, but they tend to come in a lot of the HobbyDesign detail upsets, and they are worth adding. I've done War 3 sets lately. We did the Singapore, Ferrari 250 GTO. They were the fiddliest. They were tiny. And these ones, which are massive. And yeah, no dramas. Easy, piece of cake, no bother at all. And there we go. With those painted and dried, we can pop a little bit of white glue on the very bottom of them. No real positive locating point for these. So I did try white glue originally. That wasn't having none of it. So in the end, I put a little dollop of UV glue on just a little recess under that windscreen where you can't really see. As you can see, I'm having a bit of a nightmare getting the blade in place. But once it's there, you can hit it with some UV glue. So I just opted to put a little bit more just over the top, just to touch it and hold it in place. Very fiddly. So like I said, the PVA didn't quite do it for me. So UV glue to the rescue. Like I say, you can get this stuff back off. If you do make a mistake, if you happen to hit it with a pen, it'll mostly, 95% of it will wipe off with a cotton bud. If you do, a little bit of UMP airbrush cleaner will take it off. So it's a good glue for if you're going to muck things up, which we all do, whether you freely admit it or not. We all mess things up from time to time. And it's definitely a worthy glue again. It's cheap, dirt cheap. You don't need to buy the expensive stuff, although it does go green after a while. So if it starts going green, it's probably time for a new one. But at that price, it's a sundry item I'm happy to replace. Like I say, these wipers, yeah, they are well worth adding. They look absolutely fantastic. There we go. Like I say, it does advertise 5 seconds for the UV glue. It does take longer. I reckon it's at least 10-15 seconds. So always give it a little bit longer. But once it dries, it gives you a good bond. And like I say, it's not a permanent fixture. You can get it back off with very little damage. And there we go. Just look at that stance. Isn't she pretty? She's so pretty. Absolutely beautiful car. Looks absolutely spanking. It really does. It's just the stance of it. It just sits so well. And I definitely prefer it without the spoiler. I know some of you will be going, oh, it looks so much better with the spoiler. I just prefer it without. Clear coat's looking good. Not perfect. I'm not going to lie. None of my clear coats are perfect. They've always got slight flaws in them. But, you know, what is perfect at the end of the day? But what a stunning looking car. I'm really gutted about those windows. I wish I'd gone round and painted them black. But it is what it is. Everything, all the carbon looks good. The rear diffuser. A lot of work in those. You watch me do those. And it's just a beautiful looking thing. Absolutely stunning looking car. And the final thing is some UMP Shine Spray Wax. So spray it onto the cloth. Be very careful on the front end of the car because the window wipers are a pain. They're like snagging to cloth, as are the wing mirrors, and any grills on the front are easily snagged in place. But with the Shine, I find it better on the wax. I always have. I've never really used the wax. I just prefer the Shine. Just go around, put a bit of it, spray it onto the cloth, go around, spray it on, let it just dry to a haze, buff it off, and it's a beautiful gloss finish. It really, really is. It looks really good once it's dried and just gives a nice, even gloss coat. Nice and simple, nice and quick. You put on clear parts if you want as well, although I do try to avoid them if possible. Like I say, let it haze up. As you see, my clear coats are not perfect. I have slight dust spots on the top. I'm not going to push it too far and ruin the clear coat. And I'm happy with that. You know, I accept flaws. They are what they are. I'd rather not have dust spots in there if I could, but they happen. And do I want to ruin a perfectly nice paint job by burning through and ruin the decal underneath? No. So I'll accept a slight flaw. Always will. But I do like our Shine. It's good. The wax is good. I just find because of the nature of wax on a small model, it can get in the nooks and crannies and be a little bit troublesome to get off. So for me, this is the easiest way of doing it. You can use them both together and they work wonderful. And here we go. Final quick polish up. And she's looking very, very pretty. You see, look, see, it grabbed the window wiper and moved it. I told you. You got to be ultra careful of those things. They move way too easy. But I just love this thing. It's just such a pretty car. The Gulf scheme's iconic. Always has been. Aventadors, always like the Aventador as a Lamborghini. Combine them both with the LB Works body kit and all the carbon, and you're onto a winner. And the interior just looks beautiful, that orange on black. All the carbon trim, that beautiful engine in the back, wonderful. And there we go, some final finish shots of the car. Now, like I say, some are going to be saying about the spoiler. I know, I totally understand. But for me, it just looks prettier without the spoiler. It really, really does. I just think the original design of the Aventador looks great. It doesn't need a spoiler on it. I just think it looks a lot better. And I'm happy how this has turned out. It's a beautiful looking car. Look at that stance. Look how that sits. It sits in the arch. It's beautiful. We've got those huge, big 5-spoke rims, massive orange calipers, lovely carbon ceramic discs. The P0 Pirelli logos on the tyres look great. And it's just a beautiful car. Really is pretty. And a really nice kit as well. No real issues with the kit. The windscreen's a little bit oversized. It definitely is. You'll probably just do with a little bit of a trim on each side. Tiniest little bit trimming off. Other than that, no real issues with the kit at all. It's a fiddly one. It's a very fiddly kit. Although there's river holes to drill all the carbon parts, it is a tricky one. But I just wish I painted those windows black on the inside, because you can see it on that front screen. But it is what it is. Like I say, own your mistakes, whatever. It's one of those. It doesn't detract from the build too much. And it's lesson learned from next time. But what a pretty car. What a great kit. And a fantastic gift from Brian Wimwell. Thank you, Brian. Now, I will admit, Brian wants to remain anonymous. He hasn't told anybody he bought me this. But thank you, Brian. I've got to thank you, mate. Wonderful gift. Very expensive kit. You're a madman. And I thank you, mate, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much for buying this, mate. And the Caterham you bought me. Brian bought me the Tamiya Caterham a few years back, and that was a wonderful build. The big 12 scale one. He's crazy. He really is. And it's just beautiful. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate the gift. And on my Aston Martin racing background, it just looks lovely. Pretty car. Great kit. And a very, very enjoyable build. So I hope you've enjoyed watching the video series as much as me. It's been a journey. We've definitely started a new journey with the Model Factory Hero build. So hopefully you'll stick with me for that one and stay with me for many more builds to come. Anyway, let's go back to me for some final thoughts. And there we are. What can I say about that? What a beautiful car. Absolutely stunning looking car. It certainly takes pride of place on my display case there with the Singer Porsche next to it and the Ferrari GTO. Two of my favourite builds I've done so far, and two builds I've done in succession of each other. So yeah, onwards and upwards to the builds. Model Factory Hero next. Oh dear. But what a great looking car. Absolutely stunning with the Gulf stripes, the blue, the orange and black interior, all that carbon, that beautiful engine, those stunning wheels and the calipers and discs. Just a great looking car, and I really enjoyed that. And that's in the video. Thank you, Brian, for buying me that, mate. Absolutely wonderful gift, and I've really enjoyed building it. So thank you very much, mate. I hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoy building it. I've got loads of these bloody kits now. I'm hooked. I've got 5 up there. There's supposedly 4 on the way from Alpha Model themselves. We've got a trans kit up there Adam bought me. So we've got loads of these, and I'm eager to start another one. But we've got plenty on the go at the minute, so stay tuned. So there we go. Like I said, hope you've enjoyed watching that as much as I have doing building it. And as always, in the comments, pop them down below. I always like to read your feedback. And obviously make sure you sub to the channel. Give the thumbs up. And click that bell notification to get notified of the latest videos. So yes, thoroughly enjoyed that build. What a great looking car. I just wish I painted those window surrounds black. But hey ho. We know for next time, it's done as a matter of formality now. Next time, 100%. There we are. So we're going to crack on with the Model Factory Hero kit. We're going to crack on with the BMW 50. And move on forward with these builds. The Model Factory Hero build is going to be immense. I've only done the engine. We've already got 3 parts there. One's uploaded and there's another 2 to voice over and go. So we're going to have a lot of parts on that one. It's not going to be a 3-part of that. It's going to be 20 plus parts, I reckon. But you can join me in the journey on that, which I'm going to go a lot more in depth on than I normally do. So there we are. As always, if you'd like to support the channel, support my videos, support the content, keep it going, there's a Patreon link down below. Pick the appropriate tier that suits you. If you go tier 2 or higher, you get put on the 2-week error release for these videos. If you're watching this on the International Scale Model YouTube channel, these have been on area release for my patrons on my own channel for 2 weeks. So become a patron, you can watch these 2 weeks earlier than everybody else. You also get 2 exclusive weekly live streams just for the patrons, as well as the option to suggest reviews, future builds, and come join in, knowing that you help support and keeping these videos going for the foreseeable future. This is my full-time job now. I put everything I can, and you'll see by the amount of videos that are coming out, there's been loads done lately because I'm putting my all into this. So if you want to support me, links down below. There's also PayPal, made a buy me a coffee link as well. And there's loads of other links down there for everything me associated, all the live group, our Off Air Hangout group. We've got the forum, the Facebook page, umpretail.com, my own personal Paul ISM modelling page, and my ScaleMate as well. Add me as a friend on ScaleMate should you wish, and there's even an email address down below if you want to contact me directly. So thank you very much for watching today. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I am live. It's Friday night. I'm live in 25 minutes. So you can come and watch us on Friday night as well. Enjoy your evening, everyone, and I will catch you all next time. Bye.